Bloodsport is a classic action movie that holds a special place in the hearts of martial arts fans and action movie buffs. Released in 1988, this movie is one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's early big hits and cemented him as a martial arts action star. Directed by Newt Arnold, Bloodsport is inspired by the alleged true story of Frank Dux, an American martial artist who participates in the Kumite, an underground fighting tournament held in Hong Kong. Plot overview. The plot of Bloodsport is straightforward but effective. Frank Dux, Jean-Claude Van Damme, is a skilled martial artist who, after training under a secretive and wise sensei named Tanaka, played by the legendary Roy Chiao, enters the Kumite tournament. This tournament is notorious for its brutal, no-holds-barred combat, where fighters from all around the world battle each other in a tournament that often ends with someone getting seriously hurt, or worse. Frank is determined to win the tournament, not only because of his love for martial arts, but also to honor the memory of his sensei and prove himself. Along the way, Frank faces a variety of opponents, each one showcasing different fighting styles. The main antagonist of the film is Chong Li, played by Bolo Yeung, a terrifying, nearly invincible fighter known for his ruthlessness, and as the film progresses, for his deadly tactics in the ring. The journey Frank goes through isn't just physical, it's also emotional. He's trying to reconcile his loyalty to his sensei, his personal growth as a fighter, and his inner strength to overcome fear and doubt, all while being tested by increasingly dangerous opponents. Characters and performances. Jean-Claude Van Damme's portrayal of Frank Dux is the foundation of the film's success. While his acting in some of his early films, including Bloodsport, could be considered somewhat stiff, Van Damme's charisma and physicality shine through. His background in martial arts and his ability to perform the fight choreography set him apart in the action movie genre. The movie's success is largely because of his performance. He's not just another action hero. He's a fighter in the truest sense. Roy Chiao, who plays Tanaka, is a wise, older martial arts master who guides Frank on his journey. His character adds depth to the story, giving Frank someone to look up to and respect. The relationship between Tanaka and Frank also adds a layer of emotional gravitas to the film, as it explores the idea of mentorship and the passing of knowledge between generations. Bolo Yeung as the villainous Chong Li is iconic in the role. His physical presence and intensity make him the perfect antagonist. Yeung was already a martial arts legend by the time he joined the film, and his performance as the seemingly unbeatable fighter is a highlight. He's menacing, cold, and brings a sense of danger to the tournament. You know that every time he's on screen, something intense is about to happen. Thematic elements. Bloodsport isn't just about fighting. There are deeper themes woven throughout the film. First and foremost, it's about perseverance and honor. Frank Dux's commitment to his training and his dedication to his sensei's memory are central to the plot. The Kumite is not just a physical contest, but a way for Frank to prove his personal worth and respect the lessons he's learned. The theme of overcoming personal limits is prevalent, as Frank is forced to dig deep to beat the odds, not just in terms of physical prowess, but also in mental strength. Another important theme in the movie is the concept of respect. Respect for one's sensei, for the martial arts tradition, and for the opponent. In many ways, Bloodsport emphasizes that true martial arts isn't just about fighting, but about understanding discipline, control, and the spirit of competition. Jean-Claude Van Damme's career. Jean-Claude Van Damme was relatively unknown before Bloodsport, but this movie changed everything for him. Known for his impressive martial arts skills, Van Damme brought a unique combination of athleticism and charm to the big screen. After Bloodsport, Van Damme went on to become one of the biggest action stars of the 90s, starring in films like Kickboxer, Universal Soldier, and Time Cop. His fighting style, particularly his signature high kicks, became his trademark, and he was known for performing most of his own stunts, which added a sense of authenticity to his films. However, while Bloodsport was a huge breakthrough for him, his career wasn't without its bumps. After the initial success, some of his films in the 90s didn't live up to expectations, but he always remained a fan favorite. As he got older, Van Damme transitioned to more dramatic roles and even attempted a comeback in recent years with films like JCVD and appearances in franchises like The Expendables 2. Sequels and legacy. The success of Bloodsport naturally led to a series of sequels, but they never quite reached the same level of greatness. The first sequel, Bloodsport 2: The Next Kumite, 1996, starred a different actor, and while it followed a similar plot, it lacked the same charm and intensity of the original. The third and fourth installments, Bloodsport 3, 1997, and Bloodsport: The Ultimate Fight, 2009, were even more disconnected from the original, with different leads and diminishing returns. They never captured the magic of the first movie, both in terms of fight choreography and character development. Despite the lackluster sequels, the original Bloodsport remains a cult classic, and its influence on the martial arts genre is undeniable. It has inspired countless other martial arts films and is often referenced in pop culture. The movie's popularity is in large part due to the combination of its heart-pounding fight scenes, the underdog story, and Van Damme's breakout performance. Fans continue to celebrate the film, and its legacy as one of the quintessential action films of the 80s endures. Final thoughts. Bloodsport isn't just another martial arts movie. It's an action-packed, emotionally resonant story of overcoming the odds, staying true to oneself, and honoring the martial arts tradition. It's the movie that launched Jean-Claude Van Damme's career and solidified him as one of the biggest action stars of the 90s. It's got unforgettable characters, incredible fight sequences, and a story that's as much about personal growth as it is about martial arts. Even if the sequels didn't quite capture the same energy, the original Bloodsport is still remembered fondly by fans and remains a touchstone for martial arts cinema. For those who love a good underdog story mixed with intense action and heart, Bloodsport is a must-watch. And when you watch it, you can't help but appreciate the legacy that Jean-Claude Van Damme left behind in the world of action films. It's definitely one of those movies that, once seen, stays with you, especially if you're a fan of hard-hitting action and real martial arts technique. Cyborg, 1989, Jean-Claude Van Damme movie review, a retro sci-fi action classic. Plot: Cyborg, 1989, directed by Albert Pien, is one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's iconic films from his late 80s, early 90s action phase, coming in the wake of Bloodsport and other martial arts hits. This sci-fi action flick takes place in a dystopian future where society has collapsed after a global catastrophe. The film follows Gibson Rickenbacker, Van Damme, a former soldier turned mercenary, who is tasked with protecting a cyborg woman named Pearl Prophet, Dale Haddon. Pearl carries the secret to saving humanity, a data file that could help cure a deadly plague. The plot revolves around Rickenbacker trying to survive amidst ruthless pirates and mercenaries who are determined to capture Pearl and exploit the data she holds. The film blends action, sci-fi, and dystopian elements, as Van Damme's character embarks on a mission to protect the only hope for humanity's future. Along the way, he faces intense combat and confrontations with a gang led by a sinister villain known as Fender Tremolo, Vincent Klin, a sadistic leader with a fascination for destruction. Characters. At the heart of Cyborg is Van Damme's portrayal of Gibson Rickenbacker, a stoic, brooding anti-hero who is both tough and vulnerable. As a man hardened by past trauma, Rickenbacker is driven by a sense of duty and a desire to protect, but his emotional journey throughout the film is shaped by his tragic past. He's the classic loner hero archetype, often seen in action films of the time. Pearl Prophet, played by Dale Haddon, serves as the catalyst for Rickenbacker's journey. As a cyborg, Pearl represents both humanity and the hope for a future, but she also stands as a symbol of the fusion between man and machine, an ongoing theme throughout the film. While not the primary character, Pearl's role is integral to the film's plot and its reflection on technology's impact on society. On the villain side, Fender Tremolo, portrayed by Vincent Klin, is a memorable antagonist who brings chaos and destruction to the film. His character is your classic over-the-top action movie villain, driven by greed and a thirst for power, but Klein's performance adds a certain intensity that makes him a compelling presence throughout the movie. One of the central themes of Cyborg is the exploration of post-apocalyptic survival and the blurry lines between humanity and technology. The film's setting in a dystopian world where society has collapsed reflects fears of a world on the brink of collapse, which was common in many sci-fi films from the 1980s. Technology plays a significant role in Cyborg, with the cyborg character Pearl Prophet representing the potential for both salvation and destruction. The film touches on themes of human dependence on technology, the ethics of creating lifelike machines, and the possible consequences of technological advancements on society. This makes the cyborg more than just a plot device, it's a reflection of the changing relationship between humanity and the machines it creates. Comparison to other movies. When comparing Cyborg to other films of the era, it shares similarities with both Van Damme's own body of work and broader 80s sci-fi action films. Like Bloodsport, Cyborg showcases Van Damme's martial arts skills, but here, those abilities are set against a more fantastical, futuristic backdrop. The film's martial arts scenes, though intense, have a more stylized, action-driven quality compared to his previous work, especially considering the dystopian setting. In terms of genre, Cyborg has elements in common with other post-apocalyptic movies from the time, like Mad Max and The Terminator. The desolate world, the lone antihero, and the looming presence of a mechanical villain are all trademarks of films from the same period. If you've seen Mad Max, 1979, or The Terminator, 1984, you'll find familiar themes of survival in a harsh, machine-dominated world. However, Cyborg leans more into the action genre, and while not as deep or complex as The Terminator, it brings its own unique flair with the cybernetic elements. Jean-Claude Van Damme's early career. At the time of Cyborg, Van Damme had already made a name for himself with films like Bloodsport and Kickboxer, 1989. While he wasn't yet the massive global star he would become in the 1990s, Cyborg helped solidify his place in the action genre. He's great at playing the tough, silent hero, and this film is no exception. Although not one of his more widely acclaimed films, Cyborg contributed to his early career momentum, giving him the chance to hone his action star persona. Similar films. If you're a fan of Cyborg, you'll likely enjoy other post-apocalyptic action films from the same era. As mentioned, Mad Max and The Terminator are good comparisons, but also films like Steel Dawn, 1987, starring Patrick Swayze, and The Running Man, 1987, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, are in a similar vein. Dystopian futures, lone heroes, and technology playing a major role in shaping the narrative. In addition to that, if you enjoy Van Damme's style, you should check out Universal Soldier, 1992, which takes a similar approach with cyborgs, but in a more military setting. That film further explores the fusion of man and machine in a way that builds on Cyborg's themes, but adds a more polished Hollywood edge. While Cyborg may not be as widely praised as some of Van Damme's other work, it remains an entertaining and important part of his early career, providing a mix of martial arts, action, and sci-fi, with an engaging story of survival in a crumbling world. It's a great film for fans of post-apocalyptic action films and anyone who loves the 80s-90s action genre. Universal Soldier, 1992, directed by Roland Emmerich, is one of those action-packed films that perfectly captures the 1990s action movie vibe. It's a mix of high-octane thrills, futuristic sci-fi concepts, and martial arts choreography that became a signature of Jean-Claude Van Damme's career. But beyond just the punches and explosions, the movie explores some deeper themes about the ethics of science, identity, and the human condition. Plot and characters. At the heart of Universal Soldier is a futuristic soldier program designed to bring back fallen soldiers as highly trained, nearly indestructible killing machines, dubbed Universal Soldiers, or Unisouls. The film opens with a dramatic and tragic scene, where two soldiers, Luc Devereaux, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Andrew Scott, Dolph Lundgren, are involved in a bloody confrontation in Vietnam. Both are killed during the battle, but they're later resurrected and turned into part of this top-secret military experiment. Luke and Andrew are revived in the present day as super soldiers, with their memories erased and their emotions suppressed. Luke is depicted as a man struggling with his lost humanity, while Andrew becomes a psychotic and violent killer. The film follows the tensions that arise between these two characters as Luke begins to regain fragments of his memories and realizes the horrors of the program he's part of. Van Damme's portrayal of Luke is compelling because of the internal conflict his character experiences. He's a man torn between his programmed violence and his rediscovered humanity. On the flip side, Dolph Lundgren's Andrew Scott is a chilling antagonist. His portrayal of a soldier who's been mentally warped by the process highlights a darker side of the experiment. What happens when someone loses their humanity in pursuit of power? The film also features Ally Walker as Veronica Roberts, a reporter who becomes embroiled in the drama, helping Luke regain his memories and uncover the truth behind the Universal Soldier program. Themes. The central themes of Universal Soldier revolve around the nature of humanity, free will, and the cost of scientific experimentation. Luke's journey is one of rediscovery. He learns to reclaim his identity and understand who he truly is, which contrasts sharply with Andrew's descent into madness. It's a poignant exploration of how people, when stripped of their memories and emotions, can lose their sense of self. The sci-fi concept of reanimating the dead, erasing their past, and turning them into weapons raises questions about the ethics of using technology to control life and death. The movie also taps into the broader fears of its time, concerns about government overreach, the manipulation of soldiers, and the risks of technological advancements in warfare. This, combined with its explosive action sequences, helps the film feel like a reflection of both the fear of the future and the excitement of technological possibilities. Another theme in Universal Soldier is the idea of redemption. Luke's character arc can be seen as a classic hero's journey, where he fights not just for survival, but for his soul. His eventual battle against Andrew Scott, his own mirror image, in many ways, is symbolic of the internal struggle many face when trying to reconcile their past with their present. Jean-Claude Van Damme's career and action films of the time. Universal Soldier came at a pivotal moment in Jean-Claude Van Damme's career. By 1992, he had already gained recognition for movies like Bloodsport, 1988, Kickboxer, 1989, and Lionheart, 1990. These films had solidified him as a star in the martial arts and action genre, known for his incredible flexibility, martial arts skills, and charisma. Van Damme was often dubbed the muscles from Brussels, and his persona as the stoic, heroic action figure had captured the hearts of fans. However, Universal Soldier marked a key shift in his career. While it still centered around his physical abilities, the film's more complex narrative, which explored his character's psychological struggle, gave him the chance to show more emotional depth. This role paved the way for more serious roles in his career, as well as films that combined his martial arts prowess with more grounded, character-driven stories, like Time Cop, 1994, and Sudden Death, 1995. At the time of Universal Soldier's release, action films were dominated by big names like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and Bruce Willis. What set Van Damme apart was his emphasis on martial arts, his ability to perform elaborate fight scenes, and his physicality. In comparison to Schwarzenegger or Stallone, whose characters were often portrayed as larger than life, Van Damme's characters were more relatable, grounded in real human struggles. His ability to perform high-level martial arts in his action sequences also made his films stand out, adding a layer of authenticity to the genre. In a sense, Universal Soldier bridged the gap between the more traditional action hero films and the newer, more introspective action movies that were emerging in the 90s. It also reflected the rise of the sci-fi action subgenre, which gained prominence through films like Terminator 2, Judgment Day 1991, and The Matrix 1999. Sequels and franchise legacy. While Universal Soldier did well at the box office, it was also the start of a multi-film franchise. It spawned several sequels, including Universal Soldier: The Return 1999, which brought Van Damme back to the role of Luc Devereaux. However, this sequel was a much more action-oriented film with fewer of the deeper themes explored in the original. The franchise continued with Universal Soldier Regeneration, 2009, and Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning, 2012, both of which saw the return of both Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. These later entries were more direct-to-video releases, but they still kept the core premise alive, of soldiers resurrected and turned into superhumans, and the consequences that come with such power. The films also explored themes of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and the psychological toll of war, adding a layer of depth to the franchise as it evolved. Despite the mixed reception of the sequels, Universal Soldier left a lasting legacy in the action genre. It helped solidify Van Damme as one of the key action stars of the 90s, and proved that the genre could carry more than just mindless action. It could tackle important philosophical questions while delivering thrills. Conclusion. Universal Soldier may not be considered one of the most complex films of the 90s, but it's definitely one of the most entertaining. Jean-Claude Van Damme brought an emotional depth to his character that set it apart from other action films of the time. Combined with Dolph Lundgren's sinister portrayal of Andrew Scott, Universal Soldier made a lasting impact on the action genre, blending explosive action with thoughtful themes. Looking back, Universal Soldier holds a special place not just for its high-energy fight scenes, but for its exploration of humanity, identity, and the consequences of tampering with the natural order of life. It remains one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's most iconic roles, and it's no surprise that it helped solidify his place among the greats of 90s action cinema.